Okay, we are back finally with episode 4 of HBO's The Last of Us, my Actor React series. Now, please hold my hand. Seriously, somebody, anybody? Oh, that's the title of the episode? That's embarrassing. Okay, don't pretend like every other YouTuber hasn't told you what to do, okay? I might tell you what to do one day, but not today, okay? Not today. You are free, all right? Do what you want to do, huh, kid? I don't know where this voice came from. All right, so whatever. We open with Ellie experimenting with her new gun, right? She's checking herself out in the mirror, making sure she looks pretty thug, right? Gotta be thug enough, okay? That's embarrassing. I love this contrast between the pew pew sound effects and her gun knowledge, learned presumably at Fedra school, like everyone else. Look, I'm smart enough to know not to pull the trigger while it's loaded, especially in a post-apocalyptic world. I don't want to get swarmed by any of these fungus, that we're not seeing. But as far as getting the bullet out of the chamber, look, if I display any confidence there, that is completely baseless, okay? Not there at all. It's all fake. That said, I do like this moment of the bullet dropping to the floor, okay? It tells the story that she's competent, but not quite experienced, right? It's a fantastic moment of the production showing, not telling. So we open with Ellie experimenting with her new gun. She's checking herself out in the mirror, making sure she looks thug enough. Oh, that was embarrassing. Okay, look, I love this contrast between the sound effects and her actual gun knowledge, right? Learned presumably at Fedra school. Like, I'm smart enough to know not to pull the trigger while it's loaded, especially in a post-apocalyptic world, right? I don't want to get swarmed by this fungus that we never see. But as far as getting the bullet out of the chamber, look, I'm going to be honest. If I display any confidence in that moment, it is baseless. I have no clue what I'm doing, okay? None, okay? It's all fake. Now, that said, I do like this moment of the bullet dropping to the floor. It tells the story that she's competent but not quite experienced. It's a fantastic moment that the production has shown you instead of telling you that she's not experienced. She's showing it to you. It's great, okay? Always go for showing, not telling. Just saying. Except your butt. Don't show your butt. That sounds like bad advice. Scratch that. The moment of Ellie and Joel by the cars as they siphon gas is beautiful, right? The pain in Joel's eyes as Ellie is telling these jokes isn't lost. He's visibly uncomfortable, and that's shown by Pedro closing himself off, turning away. His inner monologue is probably something like that Hawkeye scene, the one?
Yeah, they stop making me like you.
But again, Joel isn't gonna allow himself to feel hope yet. Now, this could be a tough moment as an actor, right? Because we're taught that negative choices are no-goes. Picking a negative want or action closes you off as an actor. It doesn't really give your character anywhere to go or any reason to stay in the scene. They'll just leave. So, Joel's want here can't be that he wants Ellie to be quiet or to go away, okay? Instead, as an actor, right, you should pick something like Joel wants Ellie to take her safety more seriously. It's not negative and it fits that protector role. Finally, to close out our opening sequence, we have Ellie making a decision to mess with Joel again, right? Now, when she takes this little beat, this small little moment, this little smirk on her face, She shifts her focus from the magazine to Joel. We can see her making that decision. It's perfect, right? Okay, a little crude, but that's the way we like it. Okay, next we find ourselves with Joel and Ellie in the woods, eating dinner. Chef Boyardee, God, that brings back memories. That was the Chef Boyardee coming back up. Right, so this is an interesting opportunity as an actor, right? Because it's not always written into the script how your character eats, okay? You have to fill that in. A person's eating habits are based on their upbringing, their history. Like Joel and Ellie here, Joel keeping the food down in front. His hands are free, so he can grab weapons, whatever. Ellie keeping it close. There's probably a lot of food scarcity in the Fedra school. She's got to wolf it down so none of her bullies take it. She was probably the bully, wasn't it? Whatever, okay, this is an opportunity to flesh out your character's backstory. It allows them to become more three-dimensional and live inside of you, right? Don't squander it. Later on, Ellie has this really human moment after telling this dad joke. And I mean, of course Joel knows this joke, right? Come on, Ellie, pick a better one, right? Okay, Ellie lets Joel, and by extension us, in on her fears in this moment. And the writing for her character is so good! Okay, we get to see these little chinks in her armor from time to time as she lets us in on her fears, right? She's letting her guard down And she's letting us know that she's relying on Joel quite a lot. And right after that, we get to see how much Joel really cares. He stands guard all night. He's sort of stepping into that father figure. He's not all the way there yet. We'll get there. So, quick note about this story about Tommy, right? As an actor, I make a habit to underline anything another character says about my character. It's a little cheat sheet given to you by the writer. You always learn a lot about your character from others in the show. And if they seem contradictory, well, they're not. Because it gives you a guide on how your character interacts with them. To some, you're the hero. To others, you're the villain. So always pay attention to what others have to say about you. Also, during this story, listen to the way Joel says
fireflies.
Right? The emphasis, the tone, the cadence. It tells you so much about how Joel sees that group, especially in relation to his brother. This is another moment as an actor to build on the history of your character. What emotions do groups, foods, people evoke? Okay? How can you best show that to the audience through your voices or through physicality while you're saying it? Of course, I'm saying this more for my benefit than yours, okay? I'm more important here. Look, I need to remember this stuff. This isn't about the acting, okay? I know, okay? I love this shot, the truck moving through Kansas City. It feels like the focus is on the city and not on Joel and Ellie, right? We get to see the streets covered in leaves. The stark contrast between their truck and the trucks behind them. It's really eerie, right? I love it. Has anyone else had this argument with their dad?
Well, don't look at the state map, look at the inside.
I mean, they don't teach you how to read maps in school, right? They don't teach you how to read maps, write checks, budget. The checks thing just aged me, didn't it? Okay, moving on. Okay, we get to an action sequence. Oh, it is amazing. Okay, they have this decision not to hide the violence anymore. And that may have sounded a little bloodthirsty. God, I'm doing it again. Okay, so remember in earlier episodes, they hid the violence to make other moments stand out. Like Joel jumping the federal officer to save Ellie. It had a point. And this has a point, this action sequence. It's not just Fast and the Furious. It's not Transformers. It tells a story, right, that needs to be set up. It's this story that Joel is extremely experienced and capable, but he has blind spots. He can be overpowered by a younger attacker. You know, this also forces Ellie to help, taking the same stance that she does at the beginning of the episode as she shoots and saves Joel's life. Both Ellie and Joel are doing a great job of conveying emotion and tension through their eyes, right? This has sown a little seed of doubt in Joel. Is he capable of protecting her? While Ellie, on the other hand, is confronted with the weight of human life. Juan Magana, and I am so sorry if I mispronounced your name. I am so sorry. He does an incredible job of staying on want and keeping his action directed at a single person, right? And that's Ellie here. So when analyzing a scene as an actor, you want to identify who your want is towards, right? In a scene like this with multiple people, it can be easy to think, well, I have two wants. There are multiple people in this room. But no, there's only always going to be one. Having it directed at two people or having two separate wants and actions makes your delivery sloppy. It can confuse the audience. Always attempt to tell the clearest story. Like Juan wanting Ellie to save him, to bail him out. Then we're introduced to this section or arc's villain, right? Kathleen. She's a person that has been pushed too far by the world and has taken it upon herself to correct the city she lives in. Or at least that's what we're supposed to think. Really, she's just in it for revenge. Oops. Spoilers. Okay, look, Maylene, the actress, is doing an incredible job of showcasing an actor's ability to listen, right? To another character and allow their words to affect them. While Edelstein pleads for his life, she fights the urge to both understand and empathize with him, choosing, again, revenge. I also love this choice of allowing oneself to become emotional. It's a piece of writing that could be construed as confrontational. It's an interrogation, right? Most actors will run towards that. So having an actor make a choice that on the surface contradicts the writing is so fascinating, right? It's probably what got her the job. Because for any given part, tons of people are called into an audition. Thousands across the country, at least here in America, will apply for any part. And only maybe 100 people actually get called in for the audition. You want to make a choice that'll set you apart in the casting director's eyes. Do something they aren't expecting or aren't seeing from every other person. If it's too big or too bold, they'll rein you in. They know you can go that far. Make a choice. And Now, the final scene, right? I'm jumping ahead, of course, but Joel and Ellie are laying in their makeshift beds. This scene is interesting because as an actor, we're already working within this small window, the frame. And that's made smaller by laying on your sides in bed. Essentially, the blocking becomes restricted, right? That's what I'm saying. Okay, we have nowhere to go. We can't exactly get up and move away from the person when we don't want to answer questions. We have to do like Ellie, roll over. And instead of following a person across the room, we can do like Joel and roll to face them. The environment becomes the challenge that we as actors must work with and tell the story clearly. Finally, look, I'm not going to lie, this joke,
Did you know diarrhea is hereditary?
it got me, man. I laughed, yo.
Yeah.
I must be losing it because
It runs in your genes.
that was a funny dad joke, okay? Now, Joel called Ellie Cargo earlier in the episode, but really the episode has set them up to be more of a team. Now, this moment of Ellie shooting Juan's character, it forced Joel to step in and become more of a father figure. And I'm loving this arc for him. This is where he's at in his journey in the series, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Anyway, see you next time for episode 5. Look, I am so ready to see this big fella, all right? Break me open, Daddy. God, my grandmother watches these. No.